What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video for today's 15-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. Now, even though we have every team in baseball available today, it's going to be a really weird pitching slate, possibly the weirdest one we've had all year. But that means there's going to be a lot of opportunity for hitting today, so you know what that means. Like this video and comment your double dong pick down below. If you are correct, you will win a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. So right now, like the video and comment your double dong pick, and I'll reveal the results from yesterday's contest a little bit later in the video. And now it's the top pitchers on today's slate, and as I mentioned, this is going to get weird right away. The number one pitcher today is going to be Jacob Junis going against Detroit. He gets 3.8 implied runs against him, and he's expected to be the number one owned pitcher on DK with 29%, and also on FanDuel with 21%, while he'll be number two on Yahoo with 31%. Detroit strikes out at a 26.3% rate versus left-hand pitching and doesn't have a ton of power with a 148 ISO, so Junis' 8.3 Ks per nine may be enough to be useful in a park that should limit home run power. Really not a big Jacob Junis guy, it may surprise you, but I get why people will get there with his price. I'm still willing to go under the field, though, because again, he's not a stellar pitcher. He's going to be owned like he is one today. James Paxton versus the New York Mets should also be popular today with 3.7 implied runs against him. He'll be number one owned on FanDuel with 39%, and he'll also be number two owned pitcher on DraftKings and FanDuel. Paxton's price is reasonable given his 12.1 K per nine and 14.7% swing strike rate numbers, going against the Mets team who has a 25.4% K rate versus left-hand pitching. Besides that, though, they do have solid hitting with a 192 ISO and a 112 WRC+, so the Mets are not pushovers here. I don't mind Paxton because there really are a lack of quality arms up top here on the slate, but Paxton is a guy who can give up some production here to the Mets, so I think having some leverage and some exposure both ways can be an approach that works for tournaments. And Martin Perez versus Seattle should also find some ownership today with 3.9 applied runs against him. He looks like the best value pitcher on the board going against the Seattle team as a 26.5% K rate versus left-hand pitching. Perez has some struggles versus righties, but has limited home runs well with a 1.8% rate on the year. And he also gets just enough strikeouts to be useful with 8.3 Ks per nine. His price works, so I get why you'd want to have some Perez here. And again, from a projection basis, he does look really strong according to our projections at Awesemo.com. On to our next corner, the top stacks on the slate. And the Cubs stack going against Peter and Lambert should be the top option today. They get 6.2 implied runs for them, which is a slate high. And Lambert did have 32.75 fantasy points with 9 strikeouts in his only start of the year going against the Cubs. Now, Lambert was not nearly that good in the minors, and now that they're in Colorado, he's going to be very capable of giving out production to a Cubs team was a 200 ISO versus right-hand pitching on the year. That first game for Lambert seems like an aberration here. The Cubs are a team who should be able to hit him again, especially seeing him for a second time in a span of a week or so. It's a nice spot here for the Cubs to get him going, especially in Coors. Boston stack versus Ariel Jurado should also be popular today with 6 implied runs for them. Jurado doesn't miss bats with a 7% swing strike rate and 7 Ks per nine, and now he's going against the Boston projected lineup who has a 196 ISO and a 119 WRC+ versus right-hand pitching. Decent prices for Boston make them interesting, but Jurado's ability to limit production with a 1.3 whip and 2.6% home run rate make the mini stacks more logical to me. And again, he's limiting that production in Texas, so being in Boston today, it's going to be even more limited. And then Jurado's a guy who's not great, but he can keep the bats quiet enough. So I think the spot here for Boston, mini stacks and one-offs would be more appealing to me than a full stack. And a Washington stack versus Manny Banuelos also looks interesting with 5.4 implied runs for them. Banuelos can get strikeouts with 8.7 Ks per nine, but his 5.9% home run rate and 1.8 whip can mean lots of potential production for Washington. Washington's projected lineup has only a 19% K rate along with a 361 on base percentage, so you can definitely get base runners on and knock them in, with righties also a weakness of Banuelos with a 7.2 xFIP for him on the year. Washington has a lot of strong hitters, and Banuelos has shown the ability to let guys get on base as well as knock guys in with home runs, so I think it's a nice spot here to go to Washington, full stacks, mini stacks, and one-offs. Now on to our lower owned options on today's slate, and in the world where people are going to go to Jacob Junis, I'm willing to go to Tyler Beede today versus San Diego. He gets 4.4 implied runs against him, and Beede's 9.7 Ks per nine could be interesting versus a San Diego team who has a 28.6% K rate in their projected lineup, and they're also in a pitcher's park. Beede is cheap and low owned, especially compared to a guy like Junis, so his bad 4.3% home run rate and 2.2 whip that he gives up could be worth the risk despite San Diego's 190 ISO versus right-hand pitching. Again, there are really some reasons to go against Beede here, but the strikeout numbers are really what I would be targeting. It's low price, and the fact there are going to be some really chalky, low-priced pitchers today make Beede an interesting tournament play. A Tampa Bay stack versus Mike Fiers is also one that I'm curious about today with 5.1 implied runs for them. Tampa Bay's projected lineup is a 201 ISO versus right-hand pitching, and Fiers doesn't strike guys out, which is 6.2 Ks per nine, and also gives up a 4.5% home run rate. Every single hitter in Tampa Bay's projected lineup is above league average in home run rate versus right-hand pitching, so there are lots of ways to stack it up if Fiers gives up enough production. Tampa Bay just a professional hitting team with a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can build your lineups with stacks. So I think Tampa Bay is interesting to go to today at not a crazy amount of ownership. And Patrick Corbin versus the White Sox is a slightly lower owned pitcher I like today. He's got 4.1 implied runs against him, and Corbin's been bad in his last 2 starts, but he still brings 10 Ks per nine and a 12.3% swing strike rate versus a White Sox projected lineup was a 27.3% K rate versus left-hand pitching. Park factors that favor hitters can be dangerous for Corbin here, but he has top flight strikeout stuff on a slate with very few pitchers who do have those big strikeout numbers. Corbin has big strikeout stuff, and on a slate where people are willing to go to Jacob Junis, and I'm even talking about Tyler Beede, I think it makes sense to go to a guy like Corbin today who has some decent strikeout numbers and is going against the White Sox Sox team who will also give up strikeouts up pretty easily. Much like Arizona yesterday, Milwaukee's going to be the weird stack that I'm going with today with 4.3 implied runs for them against Brad Peacock. Peacock has struggled versus lefties with a 1.4 whip, a 5.3 xFIP, and a 5.2% home run rate allowed, while Milwaukee can bring a very lefty-heavy lineup. For this stack, the lineup configuration is key, as blocks of righties would ruin the stack here because Peacock can get righties out pretty well. But Christian Yelich, Mike Moustakas, Yasmani Grandal, and Eric Thames could beat up Peacock at low ownership. Again, you're hoping here you see a bunch of lefties in a row because Peacock is a really, really bad pitcher versus lefties, but also a really good one versus righties. So as long as Milwaukee brings that lefty-heavy lineup, I think they could be an interesting low-owned stack today. And now onto the one-offs on today's slate, and Yasmani Grandal, a guy I just mentioned, versus Brad Peacock is a guy that I like. It's a reasonable price for Grandal, who has a 5.1% home run rate and a 128 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching, while Peacock allows 41% hard contact and a 45% fly ball rate to lefty hitters. Again, Peacock giving up a lot of production to lefties, and Yasmani Grandal could hit from both sides of the plate. I like the spot for Grandal quite a bit at a very reasonable price in this Brewers stack. Anthony Rendon versus Manny Banuelos is also a hitter I'd pay up for today. He's expensive on a slate with Coors hitters, but he also has a 148 WRC plus, and he generates 46% hard contact versus left-hand pitching, while Banuelos brings a 5.9% home run rate in a positive home run park, and that means a lot of opportunity here. And again, I do like that Washington stack in full, but I think if I had to pick out one hitter, Rendon is a guy who has the best talent, and the price is a lot, but he is going to be able to back out that price with production, I think, in this spot versus Banuelos. And another high-priced third base option that jumps out to me is Nolan Arenado going against Jose Quintana. Arenado versus left-hand pitching is always in consideration with a 193 WRC plus at a 7.8% home run rate, but in Coors he also deserves some exposure given that Quintana has a 4.5 xFIP and just 7.9 Ks per 9 versus righties. A full Colorado stack is going to be pricey, and I think it's very possible that Arenado, much like Rendon, seizes a lot of the team's production here. Spot here is about as good as it gets, and every time Arenado is going against the lefty, I'm willing to put him in some lineups. So there are my thoughts on today's slate. So right now, like this video and comment your double dong pick down below for a chance to win a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. We actually had a lot of double dongs yesterday with Ozzy Albies, Idelmaro Vargas, Starling Marte, Scott Kingery, and Eduardo Escobar all going deep, and those guys were not picked in the comments below. So get weird with it if you want. Go wherever you want. Choose some of the stacks, the guys that I mentioned today. Just find a way to get there. But right now, like the video, comment your double dong pick, and if you are correct, you'll be winning that free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. But unlike the skee ball game at Dave & Buster's, you could also buy your way to prizes here by using that promo code Switch and Hedge. Get half off your first month or week of any Awesemo Plus package. Get all the ownership projections, the rankings, the regular projections, the deep dive column, the lineup builder, the top stacks tool, a million different things that'll make you make better MLB DFS lineups. So right now, use that promo code Switch and Hedge for half off the first month or week of any Awesemo Plus membership. I'll be back later today on Live Before Locks, so subscribe, hit that notification bell to know when we go live, and I'll be on there actually every day this week through Saturday, so you'll be getting a lot of me leading up to your slates, so go check that out. Of course, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. Followers give me value that I am lacking in every single day. I could give myself daily affirmations in the mirror every morning, but it's not going to make me look cool to other people on social media, so please go follow me now. And I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so good luck.